Hey everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today, we're journeying back to the late 16th century in the Philippines, a time of immense change and conflict under Spanish colonial rule. We're going to uncover the story of a fiery, complex, and ultimately tragic rebellion known as the Magalat Revolt. Our story begins in 1596 in the northern province of Cagayan. The protagonist, a charismatic and determined man named Magalat. Now Magalat wasn't just any local leader. He was one of the few from Cagayan who dared to dream of a land free from Spanish control. His rebellious spirit was so potent that he had already been arrested and brought to Manila for trying to stir up a revolt against the colonial authorities. You might think that would be the end of his story, but it was just the beginning. Interestingly, it was a group of Dominican priests who pleaded for his release. Perhaps they saw a chance for peace or underestimated his resolve. Whatever their reasons, their intervention worked. Magalat was set free and immediately made his way back home to Cagayan, but he didn't return a changed man. He came back with a burning passion for independence, more determined than ever. Alongside his brother, Magalat began to rally the people of Cagayan. He was a powerful orator, and his message of freedom resonated with many who were tired of Spanish oppression and heavy tributes. He wasn't just talking, he was igniting a movement. The entire region was a powder keg, and Magalat had just lit the fuse. The revolt exploded across the countryside. Magalat's influence was so strong that he quickly gained control of vast areas outside the main Spanish settlements. However, his methods were far from gentle. Historical accounts suggest that he was ruthless, not just towards the Spanish, but also towards his own countrymen. Any native who refused to join his cause faced his wrath. It was a brutal with us or against us campaign. This complexity makes Magalat a fascinating figure. Was he a hero fighting for freedom, or a tyrant forcing his will upon his people? The truth, as it often is, probably lies somewhere in between. For the Spanish in Cagayan, the situation was becoming desperate. They were effectively trapped, besieged in their own forts and settlements, as Magalat's forces dominated the surrounding lands. The local Spanish authorities knew they couldn't handle this on their own. Word of the escalating crisis reached the Governor-General in Manila, Francisco de Tello de Guzman. De Guzman couldn't let this rebellion succeed. It would set a dangerous precedent for the entire colony. So, he dispatched a seasoned commander, Captain Pedro de Chaves, to quell the uprising. Chaves led a formidable force composed of both Spanish soldiers and, crucially, Filipino colonial troops from other regions. This divide-and-conquer strategy was a common and effective tactic used by the Spanish throughout their rule. The ensuing battles were fierce. Captain de Chaves and his troops systematically pushed back against the rebels. They were well-equipped and strategically sound, and they began to capture and execute several of Magalat's key leaders. The momentum of the revolt was slowly but surely being broken. Magalat, once the master of the countryside, found himself on the defensive. But the final blow didn't come from a Spanish sword on the battlefield. It came from within Magalat's own inner circle. The Spanish, realizing that a direct assault on Magalat's fortified headquarters would be costly, resorted to a more insidious tactic: treachery. They offered a substantial reward for Magalat's life. Tragically, this offer found willing takers among his own men. In 1596, Magalat was assassinated, not by his declared enemies, but by the very people he had trusted to protect him right inside his own stronghold. With their leader gone, the rebellion crumbled. The Magalat Revolt, which had burned so brightly and fiercely, was extinguished as quickly as it had begun. It serves as a powerful and somber reminder of the complexities of colonial history, a story of resistance, ambition, brutality, and betrayal. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into Philippine history. If you found this story as compelling as I do, please hit that like button. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you won't miss our next video. See you next time.